Welcome everybody to the Three Kingdoms expansion for AoE2 DE. That's right, we have a new expansion upon us. It is all about China, and it will be releasing May 6th. So this video, I think that's going to be coming out April 10th, was myself and other content creators given early access to the game to show off some, but not all of the new features available in this DLC. So right off the bat, guys, I am not allowed to show campaign footage, and I'm not allowed to show actual multiplayer footage, nor is anyone else. So this video, it's all just going to be about introducing to you to what this DLC has to offer you guys, and then to go over all of the 5 new civilizations added to the game, showing off their tech trees, and basic overviews of their unique and regional units. If you guys are excited for the DLC, definitely let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to the channel because although we can't see multiplayer footage, we can do a lot of single player testing, and that is definitely going to be something I will be spending a lot of time doing in the upcoming weeks. So this YouTube channel is going to be humming. So with that in mind, the Three Kingdoms expansion, it will be giving us 3 campaigns, one for each of the 3 kingdoms of China. And yes, that is, I said it would be a thing, and indeed, we will be getting the 3 kingdoms. I don't even know if I can show you the menu, so I'm just going to err on the side of caution as far as that goes. And we will also, of course, have those new civilizations added to multiplayer. All 5 civilizations will be in ranked. And those 5 civilizations are going to be the Jurchens, the Khitans, and then the 3 kingdoms themselves, Shu, Wei, and Wu. So there is a lot to break down with this, guys. Let's just jump into the tech trees and just go through each of these 5 new civilizations. Like I said, I will be going into a lot more depth with them in like individual videos in the upcoming weeks. But let's just sort of sink our teeth into what this expansion has to offer. Also, I will go through the Chinese, Koreans, and Vietnamese as they themselves did get some changes with this expansion. But first, I know what you guys want to see. You want to see the new civs. So Jurchens, they are a cavalry and gunpowder civilization. They also represent the steppe people turned agrarian sort of Chinese empire in northeastern China today. They are the precursors to the Manchu and the Qing dynasty later on, if you will. And they did a lot of fighting against, well, all of the neighbors, China, Korea, the Mongols. They are represented by Qin in Genghis Khan III into China. And they are definitely a distinct Sinicized, that is to say Chinesified, people group that is still distinct from the ethnic Han Chinese, so I'm really glad that they are a unique AoE2 civilization. As for how they exist in the game, meat of hunted animals and livestock do not decay, or doesn't decay. This is pretty interesting. It will give you a bit of more food early on. You get like 87 food per sheep and like I think around 300 food, maybe a little less for boar. So this will be giving you at least a decent amount of extra food. And of course, like I said, I will do testing videos, all this, in the upcoming days. Mounted units and fire lancers attack 20% faster starting in the feudal age. So that will include cavalry archers, your light cav, your steppe lancers, and your iron pagodas. Siege Engineers is available in Castle Age. So, Siege Engineers, of course, normally an Imperial Age tech. Here it is 500 food, 600 wood, just like normal. And yeah, same effect. So, +1 range for siege weapons, plus 20% attack versus buildings. I'll do my breakdown as to how all this is going to play out in a little bit. Siege and fortification upgrades cost -75% wood and research 100% faster. So they will have the rocket cart unit, which has an associated wood cost with the elite upgrade. Heavy Scorpion has an associated wood cost. The ram upgrades don't. Then you also have the defensive upgrades, which I assume will be, like fortified wall, keep, guard tower. Again, we'll look all into this later. Units receive -50% friendly fire damage. Now, you do have a Grenadier unit, which we'll get to in a moment. You have the rocket carts as well, so I imagine those could end up doing a lot of friendly fire, so maybe it's a good thing that they deal less of that to themselves. Their team bonus is gunpowder units get +2 line of sight, so just a nice little team bonus there. Will help a lot with bombard cannons and your Grenadiers as well, I'm sure, and that'll just be a nice nifty thing to have. Your unique units, as I mentioned, are the Iron Pagoda Cavalry and the Grenadier, which we'll get to in a moment. And your fortified techs are unique techs rather, are fortified bastions. Fortifications regenerate 500 HP per minute. That's not bad. It's not like, I think, insanely broken, but it is a pretty strong defensive bonus to have, especially as the game goes on, especially because it's free HP regeneration, which for castles and whatnot is going to be really helpful. Then we have Thunderclap Bombs in Imperial Age, which is rocket carts, grenadiers, and luchuans detonate when defeated. Projectiles produce additional explosions. So they blow up when they're destroyed or killed or whatnot, and their projectiles produce additional explosions. Yeah, we're gonna have to test that one out. That sounds ridiculously good. Oh yeah, side note, we also have new monk skins for certain civilizations and unique castles for every civ. I think I'm gonna upload that video tomorrow. That is gonna go through all of the unique, I guess, design choices that they made in the upcoming patch, which is not associated with the DLC, but still I think very much worth covering. So, tech tree here of the Jurchens. I guess it's still going to be important to check out the blacksmith. So first thing to keep in mind, that the blacksmith here, you have everything except plate mail armor. So +4 defense for infantry. So crossbowmen, no thumb ring. Your cav archers aren't that great. You do have bloodlines and husbandry though. Your crossbow and skirmishers, I mean, they're fine. They're nothing terribly exciting. Your grenadiers, look at this unit, guys, 70 gold. That is a lot. That's more than a cav archer. 35 food. So Jurchen unique gunpowder unit with a ranged blast attack, but cannot attack at close range. Strong versus infantry and tight groups of units, weak versus ranged soldiers and units at close range. Alright, so just very basic overview of this unit, guys. 11 attack. Oh, and it even shows bonus damage here. So get a little, so you get some good bonus damage versus buildings and infantry. A little bit versus rams as well. It's basically like a hand cannoneer that does less attack, but has that 0.65 blast radius. Same reload time as a hand cannoneer, same movement speed as a hand cannoneer or skirmisher or archer, it's all the same. 1/1 armor, and that does go all the way up to +4. And so that is going to be the grenadier. Like I keep saying, testing will come later. Back to the tech tree. We now go to their infantry, and look at this, guys, long swordsman. Yeah, they don't have it. Don't worry, guys, they have gambesons and squires for their men-at-arms. Yeah, this is literally the worst swordsman in the game. This makes Persians look great. Oh my goodness. It is our first AoE2 civ without long swordsman. You do have all the way up to Halb, missing the last armor upgrade, but, I mean, yeah, I guess you have arson, gambeson, squires, so, I mean, I suppose it could be worse. But yeah, not having swordsman at all as an option is going to be interesting, especially with the swordsman buff that we're going to be seeing in the near future. Cavalry. Now, this is, of course, a cavalry civilization. It looks like they have no camels, no knight line at all, but they do have their hussars with full upgrades that also attack 20% faster, step lancers that also attack faster, starting in the feudal age, and then their iron pagoda is also a cavalry unit as well, which, again, we'll get to in a little bit. Siege. They are a gunpowder civilization. They get siege engineers in the castle age. All the way upgraded rams, all the way upgraded rocket carts, which is their mangonel replacement, which is available for some of the new civs and some of the old civs. And then fully upgraded scorpions and bombard cannons. So very good siege. I mean, really, there is basically no downside to the siege at all because your rocket carts are basically a replacement for the mangonel line. So you've got basically everything available to you. So a very strong siege civ, very strong cavalry civ, lots of expensive toys for you to play with. Blacksmith we already covered. Navy, you have the Luchuan, which is a regional unit with all of the Chinese civilizations now. And it is a powerful siege warship that fires arrows at units and uses long-range trebuchet weapon against buildings and siege weapons, but cannot attack at close range. It's basically a cannon galleon, but we'll see how exactly it ticks in a little bit. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, Fire Lancers, now a regional unit as well. They are a wood and gold costing infantry. It is a regional unit. I think it's just available to the Khitans and the Jurchens and the Chinese and the Vietnamese and Koreans. So not like the ancient China civs, but the more modern Sinosphere civs. So yeah, shock infantry that fires a short-range firearm before engaging in melee combat. So it's good against cav and buildings, weak against the militia line and archer units. So it's another unit that's going to be countered by swordsmen. It has the shock infantry armor class, which is the same as Eagle Warriors. I guess they're going to attack faster, but these guys are going to miss the last armor upgrade. We'll have to see how they perform, and again, testing. But yeah, the dock, no shipwright, no fast fire ship. You have dry dock at least. You have demos, all the way upgraded. You have your Luchuans, you have Bracer, of course. I mean, it's like an okay dock, nothing terribly exciting one way or the other. Your defenses are very strong. You do miss Bombard Towers, and Heated Shot, so not really going to be focusing as much on the water maps, but everything else is there, and also the fortification upgrades, cheaper on the wood cost, and research faster. The Iron Pagoda, 80 food, 55 gold, so very food heavy, but pretty cheap on the gold cost. Jurchen unique heavy cavalry with durable armor that can completely block melee attacks. Strong versus infantry and ranged soldiers, weak versus spearmen and camels. Alright guys, this is the Iron Pagoda with no upgrades but the Jurchen bonus, so it attacks faster. Even so, it's a very slow reload time for a cavalry. Other than that, its stats are pretty good. More attack than a knight, remember this is your knight replacement. 15 more HP than a knight, which is good, and a faster movement speed. Now, what is this little charge bar thing? So it says completely block a melee attack. You can see right here, the first melee attack completely ignores damage. So, this will be interesting to fight against for sure. Whoops, I forgot to give player 2 another unit. My bad. So, yes, we have the Iron Pagoda. It's basically a knight with little melee armor, a lot more pierce armor, nice movement speed, slow attack speed, more HP, and more attack. So it's pretty unique. The Imperial Age version, only 13 attack, is not super high. 140 HP, also not super high. One more melee armor as well. So honestly, it doesn't seem like that insane of an elite upgrade. This seems much more analogous to a Cavalier than a Paladin. So I'll have to see how it performs. It looks super cool, though, that's for sure. So that's the Iron Pagoda. Anyway, back to the castle. Trebuchet is there as normal, which is not true for all civs. You do have hoardings to go alongside your masonry and architecture, which is nice. No sappers, whatever. Your monks do miss redemption and heresy, but you do have everything else, so like they can be kind of okay monks in the right situation, but obviously redemption's a big one. And your eco upgrades are actually totally there. You're not missing anything, so good eco upgrades as well. You only have an early game eco bonus though, so there's still going to be a fairly weak civ economically, at least on most maps. So without any real gameplay testing, what can I say of the Jurchens? They are going to be a very big defensive late game heavy civilization. Like I said, a bit of a weak eco early on. Or I mean, like, it's okay early eco. Okay, early game eco, but nothing too great after that. You have good cavalry. Archers are kind of mediocre, and you don't have a major bonus there. Your infantry is pretty mediocre. I mean, we'll have to see how good the Fire Lancers are maybe in mid-game. The rocket carts could be nice. The Grenadiers are a really sick option in Castle Age against, I guess, a bunch of clumped up units. But we'll have to see. I mean, yeah, like, you want to get to a big blob of late-game siege with some cavalry in front, for sure. Like, already they scream like a closed map civ to me. Especially with all the amazing siege and defenses, it feels like on, like, Black Forest, they're probably going to be pretty good. Especially from the pocket. You have the Iron Pagodas are probably pretty population efficient. And yeah, this is going to be a big, boomy late-game civilization with strong siege and strong cavalry, but probably a little bit weaker and more open, eco-focused settings like Arabia. I mean, they're not hopeless on Arabia, most likely, but probably not going to be top tier. Anyway, guys, that is going to be our sort of sneak peek into the Jurchens. All right, the twins of the Jurchens, it will be the Khitans. These are sort of relatives of the Mongols. They created the Lao dynasty that was actually destroyed by the Jurchens. And yes, they are the Karakitai, and they'll might also represent the Tongguts as well, like into China. I'm not too sure yet. But yes, they are going to be more semi-nomadic into a little bit of the agrarian cultures later on. And they're going to be much more probably speed-focused than are, say, the Jurchens. Alrighty, so let's dive into their bonuses. They are an infantry and cavalry civilization like Bulgarians, interestingly enough. Pastures replace farms. So already we have a unique building. Pasture, 100 wood. Khitan, unique renewable food source. Provides a limited amount of food before it must be rebuilt. Only 2 villagers can work on a pasture at a time, cannot be converted by enemy monks. Whoa. Wait a minute. Shepherds and herders generate plus 10% additional food. Wait, is this civ going to have an insane food eco? So yeah, you already have a nice early game bonus, the shepherds and herders giving you 10% additional food. So your sheep is going to be good. Like, I can't even stop theory crafting already. So right off the bat, showing you what the pasture does. It's, well, literally a pasture. It has 315 food on it. And I guess 2 villagers can work it. Oh, okay, so it kills the few animals that are right there. And yeah, so the 2 villagers can work on it. And does it also serve... Wait, is it... Oh! Okay, so it's not Khmer. The food doesn't trickle up immediately, but it does serve as its own self-contained drop-off site. Look at that. So the villagers gather, what, 3 food before dropping it off at a super, super close drop-off site. Like, obviously, we'll have to run the tests, as I keep saying, but this should be a really, really powerful eco bonus on top of already getting the herdable bonus from earlier. All right, other bonuses. Melee attack upgrade effects are doubled. So this is going to be, well, forging and iron casting. It's basically like the Romance bonus where you're getting +2 here, so you can get +2 attack for your melee units in Feudal Age, which is nice, but you have to pay for it. So it's not that dissimilar to some other bonuses. And then iron casting in Castle Age, you're going to effectively get like Blast Furnace in Castle Age, but you don't have Blast Furnace itself. It's a decent bonus, nothing that's going to be too impactful post-game, like a post-Imperial Age, but might add to some nice timing advantages. Skirms, Spearmen, and Scouts, so trash units, train and upgrade 25% faster, so I guess getting those upgrades is going to be faster on top of the train speed. That's going to be really nice for spamming out lots of trash units. And then HCA is in the Castle Age and costs -50%, so HCA... can see right here, it is a nice upgrade and could certainly be useful, especially because the civilization focuses on both infantry and cavalry otherwise. So yeah, that could be pretty darn nice as an additional option. And they do have a complete blacksmith tech tree. Essentially, it's a complete blacksmith tech tree since you get the effect of Blast Furnace from your forging and iron casting. Anyway, the unique units are the Lao Dao, I am of course pronouncing all of this perfectly, and the Mounted Trebuchet, which we'll get to in a little bit, both of them. Unique techs. Lamellar Armor. Infantry and skirmishers reflect 25% melee damage back to the attacker. We have porcupine units, guys. What? Okay. Interesting. I mean, like, you have your skirms get swarmed by paladins, and then the paladins just end up hurting themselves. I mean, that's gonna be interesting, guys. So that's all infantry and skirmishers, including your unique unit. Yeah, that's pretty good. It costs 450 food, 300 gold, so not that expensive. And then Ordo Cavalry in Imperial Age, 600 food, 300 gold. Cavalry regenerate HP in combat. We'll see how that compares to the Georgian bonus in testing later on. So, tech tree time. Your archers are honestly okay up until late game. You missed Bloodlines, which I'll tell you already, so that's kind of a bummer for your Cav archers, but other than that, they are fully upgraded. Skirms and crossbowmen will get you through the mid-game, and your skirmishers are very good, in fact, with your unique tech, and your... Oh yeah, I forgot, infantry +2 versus ranged soldiers, so that's going to help your infantry if they can close the gap to the archers. But yeah, speaking of the archers, yeah, going to be serviceable through mid-game, might fall off a bit in Imperial Age with your archer line, obviously, and your Cav archers without bloodlines, but your skirms are going to be very strong. Infantry, you do get your little timing bonus with the extra attack upgrades, and then you have all the way up through champions with full upgrades. Pikemen, you don't actually have halberdier, but remember, the fire lancers are in part an anti-cavalry unit, so that can help out there, but you don't have the trash component to that. And of course, your unique unit is an infantry unit, which again, we'll get to in a little bit. So your stable, once again, no Nightline whatsoever, but you do have camels this time, instead of your Iron Pagodas of Jurchens, Hussars, and Steppe Lancers. Unfortunately, you don't have bloodlines, so that could make things pretty tricky, especially in mid-game. I mean, the faster training scouts is nice, but there's nothing to really help you out in melee combat, or even against ranged units. I mean, the HP regeneration in Imp is going to be like a make it up for bloodlines in late game, but in mid game, that could be a little bit of an issue. That said, you have Hussars, you have Camels, you have Steppe Lancers, so you have options, which is nice, but no Nightline. Steppe Lancers can kind of fill that role, though, so it's not the end of the world. It's not like Hindustanis that have no replacement whatsoever for the knight. Siege, keeping in mind that you do have Siege Engineers. Siege Rams, fully upgraded. You have your rocket carts again, just like the Jurchens, although they're not getting a gajillion bonuses like Jurchens do. You miss Heavy Scorpion, but you're probably not going to miss that one too much. And no Bombard Cannon, but you have your Mounted Trebuchet. Oh boy, this is what everyone saw in the pictures. So, 175 food, 175 gold, so cheaper than a Bombard Cannon. Khitan unique siege cavalry with long range but cannot attack at close range. Projectiles will leave lingering fire on the ground. Strong versus siege weapons and tight groups of units. Weak versus units at close range. So, like a fire effect bombard cannon. So you can see here we have it in the editor. It is a little bit faster than a bombard cannon, and we'll have to see if it's which upgrades it's affected by. 30 attack is pretty low, but there we go. There's the lingering fire effect. It's pretty silly looking. It has 10 range. Oh, wait a minute. So with siege engineers, that's bumped up to 11 range. But that still isn't enough to outrange fortifications in the late game. Oh. So this is going to be, I guess, primarily anti-unit in the late game, unless the enemy civilization doesn't have Bracer. Oh, we'll have to see how good that is then. And it's obviously a huge weakness compared to bombard cannons, because you can't use these guys to siege castles. Huh. Also 2-4 armor. But yeah, pretty silly looking unit, but we'll have to see how that one plays out. So, moving on now to the dock. I can't imagine it's going to be all that good for the Khitans, and you bet it is not. No Lu Chuans for these guys, they just have cannon galleons, but yeah. New contender for the worst dock in the game. I guess it might actually technically be better than Cumans? Because Cumans don't get cannon galleons at all, but they do get galleon, but no bracer. So, I mean, it's definitely up there for literally the worst navy in the entire game. So, don't play this on water map, guys. Defenses, keep in mind you do have hoardings. No treadmill crane, no keep, no arrow slits, no bombard tower, no architecture, but you got fortified wall. You can get guard tower if need be. I mean, it's a middling defensive setup. Bracer's nice to have, and you have good trash units, so, you know, it's all right. It'll get the job done. Now, moving on to the castle, we have the Lao Dao. 40 food, 40 gold. Khitan unique infantry with powerful attack that wounds enemies, dealing damage over time. Strong versus cavalry and infantry. Weak versus ranged soldiers at long range. Oh boy. Alright, so here are its stats. In the Castle Age, 9 attack, so same as a longswordsman. 3 melee armor, and 1 pierce armor, so pretty well armored. It has a slow attack speed. Good HP. And it has an average movement speed for an infantry unique unit. Alright, so let's see here. We did 9 attack to the spearman, so that goes from 45 to 36. So wait, it does double damage over time? Oh my goodness, that's pretty insane. Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting use. I thought it'd be like 3 damage over time. No, it's double. And we have the elite version here, of course. Same armor stats, 10 more HP, 4 more attack. Also, they look awesome. That's a huge freaking sword. This could be very strong, guys. We'll have to see. Alright, so that is the Lao Dao unique unit, so another infantry option that's going to be very strong. Monastery, no block printing, no redemption, no herbal medicine, so pretty mediocre monks, nothing terribly exciting. And as you have no farms, you have no farm upgrades for your economy, but you basically just have your own versions of that, so it's just the pastures give you new animals, so I'm sure it has the very similar effects to the farm upgrades, but just for your pastures. And then no gold shaft mining, so still eco is going to be a big strength of this civilization. And moving now to the broader thoughts, I mean, this is interesting, right? You have a strong early game eco with the extra food from herders. Then you have the pastures kicking in a little bit later. You have a pretty broad tech tree in the mid game. You can go for cav, you can go for infantry, you can go for archers. You have the rocket cart available to you. I mean, this civ has a lot of options here on land maps. Yeah, the Lao Dao is probably going to be a pretty decent option as well in a lot of settings. Yeah, the monks are like kind of but other than that, you have a ton of options available to you in the mid game. Late game, you're probably going to be a bit more reliant on cav archers, swordsmen. Again, I'm curious as to how good the cav actually is, because no bloodlines is a big deal. I mean, I said like Burgundians can sort of push past it because they get paladins really fast, but you don't get heavy cavalry at all. So I'm really curious as to how good this is actually going to be. I mean, if nothing else, your Hussar spam should be really solid. But yeah, you'll still have good siege options. You'll have your mounted trebuchet as well. And yeah, it feels like Khitans you can probably pull off in a lot of different settings. They feel like a civ that will probably have something useful to do in any land map setting. Obviously not water maps, don't play them there. But again, pending more playtesting, they should be a pretty darn solid civ at launch, if not. I mean, and all of these civs are probably very good, if not broken. Now with the civs that I believe belong in AoE2 out of the way, it's time to go to the Three Kingdoms. I mean, I've already talked about why I don't think that the Three Kingdoms should be all separate, unique civilizations, but hey, that's what we're getting, and hopefully they'll just be fun to play. All right, the first of our Three Kingdoms is going to be Shu. Now, a word of note before we get into the Three Kingdom civs themselves, they do share a commonality in that they all get a hero unit that you create at the castle in the Imperial Age. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but that's just something to keep in mind with all of the Three Kingdoms era civs. Obviously, on top of that, no gunpowder, as, not in the 200s. So, with that in mind, Shu. These guys were the Three Kingdom that was in southwestern China, so in the more tropical jungle-y regions, like around Sichuan. And that is going to be an archer and siege civilization. Lumberjacks generate food in addition to wood. This is literally the bonus for the Athenians, so I guess they can copy and paste from the... Or lumberjacks slowly generate food. I mean, the wording is a little different, but it's the same thing. And I think one of the team bonuses is also the same later on. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a good solid eco bonus. Nothing to complain about as far as that goes. Archery unit technologies at the archery range and blacksmith cost minus 25%. So we'll have to see what exactly that means. Oh, actually it shows you right here. So basically crossbow and arbalest. It does include thumb ring. It includes Parthian tactics, which is not available to the Civ. And I don't know if it includes heavy cav archer. So that's going to be a really nice bonus for sure. And I imagine this also includes, both the archer attack and defense upgrades at the blacksmith. So yeah, that's just going to be a nice solid bonus. And then siege weapons and siege warships move plus 10, 15% faster in Castle and Imperial Age. So not quite drill, but definitely going to be a nice solid bonus. Also, siege warships, I literally think it's just the Luchuan, which we'll have to figure out what that does in a little bit. There's a lot to cover in this DLC. This video is going to be super long. The video that's literally just to scratch the surface of the DLC, I'm sure, is going to be close to an hour long. Anyway, that's going to be just a nice solid bonus. So you have a solid eco bonus, a solid timing bonus, and a solid military bonus. Nothing too crazy, but nothing to complain about. Unique units. You have the White Feather Guard and the War Chariot. The War Chariot is over here at the Siege Workshop, and the White Feather Guard is right here at the castle. And then Liu Bei is going to be your hero. Unique techs. Coiled Serpent Army, or Array. Oh, Coiled Serpent Army sounds better. Regardless, Spearman Line and White Feather Guards gain additional HP when near each other. So, a stacking bonus, not the biggest fan of that, but I guess if it's just like a one-off thing, it's probably okay. That is 350 food, 300 gold. And then Bolt Magazine. Oh yeah, I think this is the one that had the guy who invented the Chuko new. So yeah, that would make sense. Archer line, war chariots, and Luchuans fire additional projectiles. Ooh, this could be fun to play with, guys. These are going to be some really strong archers. Really strong archers. And then team bonus, the Magyars have risen from the grave. Oh man, guys, it's so exciting. Foot archers +2 line of sight. It's not going to be that great, but it's at least attached to a civ that has really good archers. So that's at least something. So, tech tree. Archery range, obviously, this is a strength of the civilization. Blacksmith we'll get to in a little bit, no iron casting. But everything's there as far as the archers go, and the upgrades are cheaper. It's going to be great for the Civ for sure. No bloodlines for the CA, and no Parthian tactics, but I guess they're there if you need them. But skirmishers, and of course the archer line itself, is going to be a major strength. Barracks, it looks great, and I mean, it's okay, but yeah, no iron casting. The only Civ in the game to miss iron casting. That is definitely... It's an interesting one. I'll have to see how that goes. Now, it doesn't matter that much for your halbs versus cavalry, but definitely does matter for your swordsmen, and it matters in your halbs versus things that aren't really cav. Anyway, as far as the stable goes, it's not great. Your scout line's bad. You have the Heiguang Cavalry, which is a regional unit for the Three Kingdoms era civs, along with the Traction Trebuchet, and that is basically going to be your do-it-yourself knight line. Quick rundown of the stats. It has low HP, but very good armor, and a decent attack, and it costs a little bit less than a knight. And so that's just going to be, again, available to all of the civs here from the Three Kingdoms era. That said, shoes are probably not very good. Siege, we have including siege engineers. Siege rams fully upgraded, you have onagers but no siege onagers, you don't have scorpions at all, and I assume the war chariot is your replacement to that. And then your traction trebuchets are basically, again, your do-it-yourself bombard cannons, available to all of the Three Kingdoms era civs. So, war chariot, this is unique to Shu. Shu, unique siege cavalry with rapid fire attack but cannot attack at close range. Has long reload time, can switch between barrage mode that covers more area but is less accurate. Strong versus ranged soldiers, weak versus cavalry and siege weapons. So it's food costing, which is kind of interesting. You also cannot upgrade it. I mean, you can get the additional projectile, but you can't, there's no like elite war chariot. All right, so in the land of the editor now, we have our war chariots. So 8x4 attack with focus fire. Let's see. It is pierce attack 8 and then versus buildings. Okay, so the attack is still the same. Armor, all that's still the same. It regenerates HP. That's, oh, okay, that's I think something else. Okay, this is slow. You see a chariot and you think it moves pretty fast, but obviously it is still a siege weapon. So this is the barrage mode, and it's basically like a siege Chuko Nu. Very slow reload time. And then you have the focus fire one that is going to be more accurate, but it fires fewer projectiles. We'll have to see how it plays out for sure. It's not going to be that great versus buildings. It is going to be your Scorpion analog, more or less. Yeah, be very interested to see how that one plays out. Again, more testing is needed. So, Blacksmith I already covered. No iron casting, but you have everything else. The Navy, it's actually pretty decent. For the one of the Three Kingdoms that was not on the coast, it's a pretty decent Navy. You have the really nice Luchuans. You've got Shipwright, you've got Dry Dock. I mean, you miss Fast Fire Ship, but that's it. Honestly, pretty darn solid Navy. You have all the upgrades, you have Lumberjack bonus, and Luchuan bonus. Yeah, good stuff. Defenses, you have, I mean, it's pretty average. No treadmill crane, but you got fortified wall, you have guard tower and arrow slits, but no keep. Obviously, no bombard towers. It's fine. It'll do what you need to do. Notably, there is hoarding, so you actually have the 7,028 HP castles. Speaking of the castle, no sappers, very sad. But then you have your 2 units you can train here. Remember, each of the Three Kingdoms has a hero unit. 500 food, 500 gold. You have Liu Bei here. Shu unique infantry hero that heals all nearby units. Extremely powerful, has a limit of 1, and cannot be converted. So yeah, Liu Bei heals everybody up. And then you have the White Feather Guard, which is your regular unique unit. And then you have, 60 food, 15 gold, so pretty darn cheap. Shu unique infantry that temporarily slows down the unit it attacks. Strong versus cav and infantry, weak versus ranged soldiers. Alright, so here's your regular White Feather Guard. It has a lot of HP that can also be boosted up by your unique technology. It's got some decent bonus damage against shock cavalry, which is eagle warriors and stuff, cav, camels, and elephants, so basic anti-cav sort of unit. No melee armor though, low regular attack, fairly slow movement speed, but a lot of HP, and regular attack speed as well. Elite White Feather Guard is going to be giving you 1 more Pierce Armor, so the Pierce Armor is pretty darn solid. But remember, the attack is very low because you don't get Iron Casting, and it is an infantry unit. Yeah, lots of Pierce Armor, HP can be boosted up. I mean, you're getting 1 more attack, 5 more HP, and 1 more Pierce Armor. Now you got Liu Bei here, 425 HP, 45 HP per minute regen time, which is again similar to a Berserk. And that's going to affect all nearby units. And so you're going to want to keep him alive as best you can. He has a slow movement speed, regular attack speed. I mean, he's basically just like a super buff champion. Also, we've got 2 frickin' gigantic swords. That's pretty darn awesome. It'll be interesting to see how exactly all of these dynamics play out, for sure. Moving right along to the monastery, the Shu Monastery is what I would call bad, as you miss Sanctity, Redemption, Block Printing, the 3 most important upgrades, and then also Illumination to Salt the Wound. Yeah, not a great monastery. And then Eco upgrades, no Stone Shaft Mining, no Crop Rotation. I mean, it's, like, fine. It'll get the job done. You have the, all the woodcutting bonuses, which is going to be important for your bonus here. Guilds is a nice touch. Perfectly fine Eco. So, Shu, I mean, it should be a fairly well-rounded Civ in terms of you can play them on open maps, I think, very effectively, just as that archer civilization. You just have bonuses that all stack on top of each other pretty well and complement each other nicely. You'll have your a nice meat shield with the white feather guard to support your ranged units and your war chariots and whatnot. So the army compositions generally make sense, but you do have a very slow army. So that's definitely going to be the downside, I guess, to this civilization, is that you're going to be slow. Now, is this going to work on closed maps? You would think that, okay, slow armies generally going to be performing better on closed maps. Yeah, but we'll have to see how the traction trebs can do against bombard cannons and siege onagers, because that could be a big weakness of this civilization. But other than that, probably just a solid civ. Going to be decent enough on water maps as well. So yeah, again, should be a very good civ, and we'll have to see how strong these freaking archers are. All right, next up is going to be Wei, our next of the Three Kingdoms. This is the Three Kingdom that was Cao Cao's, which is, of course, the most famous of the Three Kingdoms era figures, and, of course, he is going to be their hero unit, which we'll get to later. But this is going to be a cavalry civilization. It makes sense. The general floodplains of the Yellow River in sort of north-central China, like going up to modern-day Beijing and that whole area. Lots of grassland and open fields, and that is going to be Wei. At least I think so. I'm pretty sure. Not my area of expertise, but I think that's correct. Anyway, so receive 1 free villager for each mill, lumber, and mining camp tech researched. Huh. Well, you missed two-man saw and gold shaft mining, so you missed 2 of them. So you can get up to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 villagers. It feels like a weaker version of the Bengalis bonus. Because, like, Bengalis, they get 2 villagers as soon as they reach feudal age. Wei gets a villager when you research horse collar and double bit axe. You don't really ever get gold mining or stone mining in feudal age. Maybe gold mining on the way up to castle age. So you might be, like, a little bit ahead when you also research bow saw and heavy plow, like, relative to a civ like Bengalis. I mean, it's going to be, like, a solid eco bonus, but nothing I think that's going to be too game-breaking. Next bonus, Hei Guang Cavalry and the Shanbi Raider, plus 15 and 30% HP in Castle and Imperial Age. The Shanbei Raider we'll get to later is a Cav Archer, and the Hei Guang Cavalry is the basically the knight replacement. As the cavalry-oriented civ, it makes sense. The Shanbei were like the nomadic raiders from the north, so it makes sense that they would be attached to the northernmost of the Three Kingdoms. Yeah, extra HP is going to be very helpful, especially as the Shanbei Raider has very low HP, 30, and it's not that great for the Hei Guang Cavalry either. Then the last bonus is going to be Traction Trebs and Lutrons cost minus 25%. So, nice bonus there for your Bombard Cannon replacement and for your Cannon Galleons. So again, like, okay eco bonus, decent, actually pretty solid Cav bonus, and then decent Siege and Siege Ship bonus. Then you have the team bonus, which is cavalry plus 2 attack versus siege weapons. We'll have to see how that stacks up versus stuff like mangonels, and if it is like 1 fewer hit to kill the mangonels or the traction trebuchets. We'll have to see. Your unique units are the Tiger Cavalry, which are right here at the castle. The Shanbi Raider, which I've already talked about, which is the Cav Archer. And then Cao Cao, of course, is the hero. Unique attacks. Tunjian, soldiers passively produce food. Okay, we'll have to see how that one plays out, because I am ready to sit in my base with a giant army and just amass food. It has to be at least semi-decent for 250 food, 300 gold. Yeah, see how that works out. And then Mingguang Armor, mounted units plus 4 melee armor. Okay, you missed the last Cav armor. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, I mean, plus 4 melee armor is always going to be nice to have. So let's jump into this, shall we? At the archery range here, blacksmith upgrades. You do actually have everything at the blacksmith for your archers, but unfortunately, no arbalest is a little bit of a bummer. You do have bloodlines and husbandry, of course, as a cav civ, so your Shanbei Raiders are going to be fully upgraded, as are your skirmishers. And speaking of the Shanbei Raider, let's get into it. So 60 wood, a lot more than a Cav Archer, which is 40, but 25 gold, which is a lot less than a Cav Archer, which is normally 60. Wei, unique mounted archer with a charged ranged attack. Strong versus infantry, weak versus skirmishers and camel riders. Alright, so we have the Shanbei Raider here in the editor. Very low HP at 30. 4 attack with some extra versus spearmen, and even 1 versus infantry. Quick reload time, Cav Archer movement speed. So, let's see what this does. Okay, so it's like, it's Kipchak for 1 shot, and then it has to regenerate over time. Okay, that makes sense. So it's like a cheap, weak Cav Archer that's like even more incentivized to hit and run. But it does have that quick reload time. So that's going to be quite nice. Also, it looks like the projectile volleys miss a fair bit. Rip. Alrighty, so moving on to the infantry. No Gambesons for the swordsman, and you missed the last infantry armor upgrade. You missed champion. I mean, your halbs are like semi-okay, I guess, but not terribly exciting. I mean, infantry's definitely not a strength of the civilization. You're definitely going to be focused on your Cav and Shanbi Raiders and all that. Speaking, though, of the stable, your Haiguan Cavalry is going to be great. Your Hussars are going to be actually kind of generic. Oh, no, never mind. They get +4 melee armor. So less pierce armor, but more melee armor for your Hussars. And yeah, the Haiguan Cavalry definitely going to be one of the stars of the show. Siege Workshop. Do you have Siege Engineers? You do not. But you do have Siege Ram, Onager, Heavy Scorpion, and your Traction Trebuchets. So no Siege Onager and no Siege Engineers. Still totally fine Siege Tech Tree. This is basically like the equivalent of the Persian Siege Workshop with the Traction Trebuchets replacing the Bombard Cannons. Blacksmith we already covered. Navy, not that great, actually. So you do have the Luchuans, which are cheaper, and I guess Galleons with Bracer. But yeah, you're still missing a lot of stuff in the tech tree. Not really one to play on water maps. And then defenses, you miss arrow slits, but you have keeps, sure, no architecture, everything else. I mean, again, it's decent enough. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention, no trebuchets at all, because you have the traction trebuchets. Yeah, so literally 0 trebs at all at the castle for the Three Kingdoms era civs. Yeah, totally forgot to mention that. Whoops. There's a lot for me to cover. Anyway, defenses are decent, nothing terribly amazing. So at the castle, again, you have hoardings, no sappers. You have your Tiger Cavalry and Cao Cao. So again, 500, 500. Cao Cao is a Wei unique cavalry hero that increases the attack speed of nearby units. Extremely powerful, has a limit of 1, cannot be converted. Then you have your Tiger Cavalry, 60 food, 80 gold, so fairly expensive. Wei unique cavalry that gains HP and attack while defeating enemy military. Especially strong versus ranged soldiers, weak versus the spearman line. Alright, so here is the Tiger Cavalry. It looks like it has a lot of pierce armor, and it has a ton of pierce armor in Castle Age. Knight movement speed, more HP than a knight, a little bit more attack, 6 bonus damage versus archers, and then the 2 versus siege weapons you get as a civ. Decent enough attack speed. I mean, this is a pretty solid unit. It's weird. In Castle Age, it's going to have a lot of pierce armor, but not that much melee armor. And then in Imperial Age, it's not going to have all that much pierce armor, but a lot of melee armor. Anyway, let's see how much stats this gets. I have a couple of karambits here. Okay, so we got, what, 10 HP and 1 attack? Does this keep going on up? It does. I have no idea what the limit is, but something to figure out in testing. It's going to be a really snowbally unit. And then the elite version, 5 pierce armor. So that's actually 7 pierce armor total. So same as a paladin. Okay, never mind. This thing is just going to be insanely well armored with a lot of HP. Oh my goodness, this unit's going to be a nightmare to deal with. Wow, this is going to be like a super paladin. Like, if this gets going, it's going to just slaughter everything. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll have to see, guys. Oh yeah, and that's, of course, not even to think about Cao Cao here, who is, again, just a big, chunky cavalry unit. Okay, it's not like a huge attack speed boost. Seems like it's, I don't know, 10% or so. But that's still going to be very, very good, and again, help with the snowballing aspect of this unit. Moving right along, it turns out Cao Cao is not very devoted, because no redemption, no atonement, no herbal medicine, no heresy. I mean, you have sanctity and block printing, theocracy and illumination. I mean, it's like, it's not the worst monks in the game, but it's definitely not a selling point of the civ. And we already talked about the eco. So, I feel like this could be one of those situations where you really only do cavalry, at least pretty well, and then your Shanbi Raiders. But those units can be really snowbally. Just, you know, you have the charge attack here, and then you have the Haiguan Cavalry with more HP, and then the Tiger Cavalry that is going to get stronger and stronger. I really feel like this could be a very snowbally civ. It should be reasonably competitive on anything with an open map, as it is going to be with good Like at least a good enough eco and decent cav units. Still gonna be a bit slow to get going, however. Yeah, you really don't have many bonuses early on. Yeah, it's only a Castle Imperial Age. Maybe they're gonna be a little too slow for open maps then. Definitely gonna be like a Castle Age through mid-Imperial Age Civ. Oh, show. Anyway, that is gonna be the Wei, which means we have one more Civ left. And that is the Wu. And of course, we had archers and siege, we had cavalry, and now we're gonna round out the different unit types with infantry and navy here. Wu is going to be the southeastern of the Three Kingdoms. It's going to be the one that is most on the coast and is, again, in that more tropical region. And yeah, let's see what they have in store for us. Military production buildings and docks provide 65 food. That's a nice solid bonus. Build a dock in early game, get 65 food, could help with an early uptime. Build a barracks, get 65 food. Yeah, not a bad bonus. Infantry regenerate HP. That sounds good. I'm sure it's at least decent. But remember that infantry, unlike archers, which you can dictate engagements with range to keep them alive, and cavalry units, which are fast and tend to have a lot of HP, that to keep them alive, extra HP regeneration for infantry doesn't really matter as much as they tend to just die in the front line. Tend to be more about efficiency and like numbers of units as opposed to unit quality-ish. So we'll have to see how useful that is. Anyway, Jian Swordsman and Heiguang Cavalry plus 2 attack in Imperial Age. It's a unique unit. I guess this is just like a shadow upgrade for the Jian Swordsman, which we'll get to later. And then, of course, your Heiguang Cavalry is your knight replacement. So a little bit of extra attack there, not bad. And then we have Careening Drydock available 1 age earlier and a 75% cheaper cost in research time. Interesting. 1 Pierce Armor in Feudal Age helps in Galley v Galley, but it does not help you in Galley v Fireship. Helps your fireships against galleys. I mean, basically, this is only versus enemy galleys that this matters. But if you are versus galleys, that might not be bad to pick up. And Drydock, 15% faster movement speed. This will just be a decent mid-Castle Age upgrade to pick up at your dock as well. So definitely a solid kind of Feudal Age and Castle Age bonus. And then your team bonus, houses built 100% faster. This is literally ripped from the Achaemenids. But honestly, that's totally fine to me, as these civilizations are single-player only civs that have no real bearing in multiplayer anyway. So, unique units are the Fire Archer, which is a foot archer that is your castle unique unit. The Jian Swordsman, which is here at the barracks. And then lastly, you have Sun Jian, which is the hero unit. So, tech tree time. As an infantry and naval civ, they usually have decent archers. Let's see here. No ring archer armor. And no thumb. Okay, so not that great of archers. I mean, it's not like a complete disaster. You have bracer arbalests. You have skirmishers with bracer, but no thumb ring. Missing the last armor upgrade. It's not the most exciting archery range in the world. So this already kind of differentiates themselves in a negative way from civs like Malay, Japanese, Vikings, that tend to do those sorts of things, like range plus infantry better. The barracks, of course, we expect to be a strength here. No Gambesons, though. I guess to help offset the HP regeneration. But yeah, other than that, got all the blacksmith upgrades, got champions halves, and then your Jian Swordsmen. Wu shock infantry that gains movement speed and attack, but loses armor when a damage threshold is reached. Exceptionally strong versus archery units. Weak versus militia line. 45 food, 50 gold, so kind of like an Eagle Warrior cost, but a bit more expensive. Huh. Already into the editor one last time. Well, I guess there's several more times, but for one last civ. So we have the Jian Swordsman here. It has the Eagle Warrior armor class, which made me think it would be fast, but it's just kind of an average movement speed. I guess it gets faster though, right? 3-5 armor is super good. And it even has an Eagle Warrior armor. It even has anti-archer damage. 8 attack is like okay, 70 HP is pretty good, but I'm kind of curious here. Probably. Okay, we'll have to see what the damage threshold is. Oh, look at this though. The attack speed is different now for Spearmen. It's actually synced up. Or the attack animation, the attack speed is still the same, but it's properly synced up. I still probably should have used a unit that dealt more than 1 damage though. Didn't really think that through. In my defense, I've been recording a very long time and it's very late at night. Okay, so at, what, it was like 42, 43 HP, 10% faster, more attack, less armor. So like at around half HP. And I think that's the only transformation. Yeah, I really don't know how to... off the top of my head, I'm not sure how to utilize that, but I'm sure somebody will have to figure it out. Alrighty, so that is the Jian Swordsman, which is definitely not the same as the champion, so it's definitely different than the champion, so that's pretty cool. Cavalry, pretty decent, actually. You got Heiguang Cavalry with full upgrades, with extra attack, even. So, like, infantry, navy, and cavalry with bad archers. Interesting. Your hussars are generic, but fully upgraded. And then, yeah, you've got your Heiguang Cavalry, and that's it. So, yeah, pretty solid stable. Actually, very good stable. Siege situation, there is no siege engineers available. You have no capped rams. Okay, first civ in the game to miss capped rams that has battering rams. Interesting. Onagers are, not great. Heavy scorpions are there, and I guess you have your traction trebuchets. Oh yeah, I forgot to go over the unique techs. We'll get to that in a little bit. So the traction trebuchets can fire additional projectiles, so I guess that's a decent siege bonus, so you'll need to make good use of those traction trebuchets as the woo. Navy, you do miss shipwright. So, you do miss that quality in the late game. Your Luchuans are definitely very good, though. Don't we already have Luchuans firing additional projectiles? Wasn't that, like, one of the other civs? Yeah, Bolt Magazine. So, that's kind of weird that there's, like, two techs that kind of do the same thing. But yeah, I mean, still should be a very strong Navy civ. Very, very good on water maps, for sure. Defenses, not the best without fortified walls. I guess you have keeps, but you don't have arrow slits, so you don't really have anything to tower creep with. No hoardings either. Yeah, so definitely not the best defenses in the world. And now we come to the castle with fire archers and Sun Jian. And this guy is another cavalry unit, and you will increase the movement speed of nearby units. Okay, so it's what? Extra... It's HP regen for Shu, attack speed for Wei, and movement speed for Wu. And then we have our fire archer here. Wu, unique foot archer that fires multiple arrows at units and uses a long-range attack against buildings. Stronger versus infantry, siege weapons, and buildings. Weak versus cav and skirmishers. Alright, so here in the editor, so I guess it has 2 attacks, 5 range, and a very slow reload time. So I guess... Oh. Okay. Why is this good against siege? I guess it does the extra projectiles versus siege. And yeah, it's a little bit anti-building. So what, it has a long-range attack versus buildings? Its line of sight is very good. And I have no way of easily knowing how long this range is. Alright, so... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I guess? We can check that later, but looks like 9 range against buildings at first glance. So not enough to outrange defensive structures, but maybe you can get some decent mismatches here and there. Anyway, the elite upgrade gives you 1 more range, 5 more HP, and 1 more attack. So, yeah, cool stuff. Oh yeah, and also we have Sun Jian here, who is very fast. And this is a nice 10% movement speed boost, which is certainly going to be welcome. So you're an infantry civ with good cavalry, bad archers, but you also have an archer unique unit. So kind of an interesting spread of stuff. Anyway, Red Cliff Tactics, 400 food, 250 gold. Demo ships and fire archers deal fire damage to ships and buildings, so I guess it's some damage over time. And then traction trebuchets and Luchuans fire additional projectiles. So we'll have to see how good that is as well. Pretty cheap, by the way. That is the castle, though, and looks like Wu are the only one of the Three Kingdoms era civs that have a good monastery, just missing heresy. So, yep, monks are definitely going to be a solid option for the civ. And last but not least, eco, you have everything except crop rotation. All right, so Wu should be pretty okay. I mean, like, they're a great water civ. I feel like they're probably not very good on closed maps. They might not just have the population efficiency. And I'm not too sure if they're going to be fast enough on open maps either. I mean, you get the extra food from the military buildings and some infantry HP regeneration early on, which might be nice. But yeah, I'll have to see if that's actually good enough. I mean, it should be competitive at the very least. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how all these civs fit in. I mean, there's just so much to learn. And guys, that is it. That is the 5 new civilizations. Jurchens, Khitans, Shu, Wei, and Wu. Oh my goodness, that is a lot to unpack for this DLC, but we're not going to be quite done with the video just yet. Got Chinese here. Archer and Gunpowder Civilization. Okay, so start with +3 bills. Okay, that's the exact same. Start's the same. Tech discount is the same. That is the same. Fire Lancers and Fire Ships. I mean, this is the new bonus, right? Replacing the demo ship bonus of old. So faster movement speed for the Fire Lancers and the Fire Ships. And you get the unique Fire Ship upgrade into the Dragon Ship, which is, of course, a new thing. You have Great Wall still there. And then Rocketry now wait, it doesn't affect the Chukonu anymore, but Scorpions, Rocket Carts, and Lutrons get extra attack, and then the Lutrons fire rockets. So yeah, the Rocket Carts are going to be very good, and then the farm bonus is the same. Is the tech tree the same otherwise? Archery range is the same. Oh, camels are now considered regional units. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Chinese definitely, they lost camels. That was definitely a change that was mentioned. The Luchuan and the Fire Ship bonus turned Chinese from having a kind of okay navy to a really good navy. With super good fire ships, you still have demo ships, you got Shipwright, Dry Dock, and then instead, yeah, you used to miss Elite Cannon Galleon and Fast Fire Ship, so now Chinese should be a really strong naval civ. That's all looking the same, that's looking the same, looking the same, and looking the same. Okay, so it's still mostly the same tech tree, but you lose camels, but your cav is still fairly decent. You have the Fire Lancers now, and that is going to be the updated Chinese. Koreans, ranged soldiers, I think they just reworded that. Okay, so yeah, your Fire Lancers are really cheap as Koreans, right? Because they cost wood. So 20 wood, 50 gold for Korean Fire Lancers. So that's actually a nice Fire Lancer bonus for them. And then you have Shinki-chan now affecting rocket carts and turtle ships. Plus run, range, and fire additional projectiles. So we'll have to see how good this is relative to old Korean SO, right? Because we miss Korean SO now. Very sad. And of course now you have the villager line of sight as a team bonus. Whereas it used to be the reduced mangonel minimum range, villager line of sight was a civ bonus, now the villager line of sight is a team bonus. But yeah, they definitely have a nice new option in the Fire Lancers, and like the turtle ship received so many changes, I have no idea how that's going to pan out without testing. And lastly, we have the Vietnamese here, and I'm pretty sure the only change is that they also have Fire Lancers, and they have extra HP on them. So that's going to be a nice little bonus for them. They are going to miss Blast Furnace like Koreans. But yeah, both Koreans and Vietnamese are going to have access to those Fire Lancers as the sort of regional unit. Anyway, guys, that is it for our little immediate intro preview to the DLC. Like I said, we are getting 3 campaigns here with the Three Kingdoms Civs, so no campaigns, unfortunately, for Khitans and Jurchens. So that's a little bit sad, but we do have the Three Kingdoms campaigns, and of course the 5 new civs, all for multiplayer. The patch changes themselves are going to be free and available to everybody. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. I'm a little scared because it's going to be so many changes to the game, but I can't wait still to dive into this, guys, in the upcoming days and weeks. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments. And of course, thank you to my Patreon supporters, with Dan and Jared in the Great Wolf tier, and then Carolyn, Dieter, Liquid Egg Product, Triru, and Tandoori in the Dire Wolf tier. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.